Hi, my name is Becca. Welcome back to Raising Them Simply. Here we share all about our secular homeschool as a family of 5, and today we are chatting about how we finished All About Reading Level 1. I feel like at times it felt like I was never going to get here, that my son wasn't going to get it, but we did it, and it feels like we could all take a deep breath, and everything that we wanted in this curriculum literally came to fruition. So if you are new here, we've got a almost 7-year-old. He's going into 2nd grade. That's kind of what this video is mostly about, but we also have a preschooler who is almost 4, and we've got a toddler that's running around in the mix as well. I'm also a part-time working mom. I work as a nurse, and that's kind of what we talk about on this channel is our secular homeschool journey, different curriculum, how I'm able to do it as a working mom. So if any of that resonates with you, please hit that subscribe button so you can get notified for free of future videos on this channel. But let's hop into it. Like I said, we've got a almost 2nd grader here, and learning to read for him was a real struggle, guys. It's been no secret on this channel. He has dyslexia, and we did not realize at the time when we started our learning to read journey that that is what he had. And there was a lot of tears and a lot of frustration, and we eventually found the All About Reading curriculum and fell in love with it. This curriculum is meant to teach kids to learn how to read through a way of learning that helps kids with dyslexia and other learning challenges, though children who don't have those challenges can use this curriculum as well. It has a lot of hands-on parts and games and fun things, and it worked really, really well for us. When we started our learning to read journey, we started it with how to teach your kid to read in 100 easy lessons. I've heard great things, a lot of success for a lot of different moms out there. The main reason why we picked that was because it was cheap and it was easy, and I heard of all the success stories, and especially as a first-time homeschooling mom, it really appealed to me to have a very cut and dry, open and go learning to read approach that was also really cost effective, and it did not work for us. We only went about halfway through with that curriculum before we totally scrapped it. Once we finished that, we started to go into Bob books and things like that. We already knew about All About Reading at that point, but I was honestly afraid of the upfront investment for the curriculum because it is kind of spendy. Like I said, it's an investment. But there were some ways that I made it work to kind of help my brain kind of justify the cost of that, which we'll get into in a little bit. But we started our learning to read journey with tears and frustration, and we're now to the point where just the other day we were reading a Magic Treehouse book, and my son started reading 5 or 6 paragraphs by himself out loud with hardly any mistakes. And that confidence he has in reading has just exploded. And it makes me so happy because in our family and homeschool, literature and reading and the love for reading is really important to us, which is why we do a literature heavy curriculum for our school. And the fact that my son is now loving reading, I feel is just a complete testament to this curriculum and how well it has worked for our family. Now, some of the things that we've done to kind of help with the cost as well as kind of make it work for our family, I found a video where someone was talking about how they deconstructed the student guide that came with the curriculum and made it so it was reusable. So she took all the pages out, she cut out all the pieces, she put them into protective sleeves and a 3-ring binder. I've kind of talked about this before on my channel. I will leave the links down below for you guys on when we've talked about that. But I also went a step further and I laminated a lot of the pieces and stuff to prevent it from getting ripped or torn or soiled at all, so I could reuse it for my other children. I feel like the All About Reading curriculum is pretty malleable in the sense that you pick and choose what kind of stuff is working and what stuff isn't to be able to cater toward your child versus other curriculum like the How to Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. If they're not getting it how that lesson is laid out, then there's nothing else to kind of help with that. It's cut and dry. That's what you do. When it comes to the All About Reading lessons, some of the lessons have a lot of components, some only have a few, and it's go at your own pace. These curriculums are not meant to correspond with per grade level. They're also not meant to necessarily be done within an entire year. It's just you go at your learner's pace. So there are 50, I believe there's 52 or 54 lessons in the level 1. It took us a year and a half to complete it. Keep in mind, we do school 3 or 4 days a week, kind of depending on our schedules, and then we also homeschool year round. So that allows us a little more flexibility as well. But we've also learned since I purchased the curriculum that these curriculums are on sale on Facebook Marketplace and other used stores all the time. A lot of times they do not include the student guide already made up, which I would love, but that's just not something that's available in my area. So there are ways to make it more cost effective in the long run, especially if you have multiple children and can reuse it. Some of the things that, kind of looking back, I wish we would have done a little better job of is trying to relax a little bit, especially when you have a child that's having difficulty reading, and someone as myself I've really never had an issue with English language arts growing up with school. It was one of the few subjects that I really excelled in. It was hard for me to kind of relate to him in that way and his struggles and try to, kind of meet him where he was. And that was more of a me issue, not an issue on his end. But I also have talked about this before, where I have an issue where if I have a curriculum, I feel like I have to do every single thing on that checkbox, and you don't have to do that. And I've gotten to the place now where I'm more comfortable not doing that. And just because I don't do one component of something doesn't mean that I'm not getting my money's worth out of it. You just really have to take the cues of your learner. So one example of this is that in the All About Reading, there are word or phrase review sheets where there's a worksheet that might have 20 or 30 words on it, and they're supposed to have those words mastered before going on to the next one, or maybe they'll have sentences written on there. My son got really overwhelmed with looking at the sheets, and they do have this really cool card that we used a lot at the beginning of our reading journey that's about the size of a credit card, and there's a little slot missing from the middle, so you could put it on the sentence and it only shows you that one word that you're working on. That did help, but it doesn't cover the rest of the page, and so it was really overwhelming for him. So what we actually started doing is we have these small whiteboards. I will leave them down below, but I would just write down our words or our sentences on the whiteboard, and then he could erase it when he was done reading it, and that worked really, really well for him. And we still continue to do that because it's just easier for his brain if he's not looking at all the information on those sheets. As we started getting closer to the end of the curriculum as well, it was obvious that my son had a lot of these words memorized, or he knew them on sight, so he didn't have to really sit there and review those words. We just skipped those altogether. So some of those lessons toward the end, we didn't even do the games or stuff that came with it because it was just busy work at that point. And it's summer here right now in Minnesota, and so my son just wants to get outside and play with his friends and all that. So we would cut the lesson shorter that way. As long as he was able to show me that he understood the words and the material in that lesson, that is what we would do. Overall, this curriculum was a godsend for us. It was very nice, especially with the way that I set it up. It was very open and go for me. There was no legwork. I might have to review the lesson plan before I set it up, but there was nothing else as far as anything that I had to do special. My son really loved it, even though there were days for sure in this process where there were tears on both of our parts. He loves the curriculum. He was so proud when he completed it, and there's a little certificate that comes with it that we made a copy of, and we filled it out, and he was so excited to have his reading certificate. It's up on our fridge right now because he loves looking at it every day. He got so much pride in completing the little reader booklets that came with it. And like I said, my son could pick up pretty much any book on our bookshelf and he just starts reading, and it really helped build his confidence, guys. We're for sure going to continue to be an all about reading family here. My daughter is doing the pre-reading level. She really enjoys it, and it's just something that's really helped us in our homeschool, and I hope that this information would be helpful for you guys too, especially if you have a learner that's having a hard time learning to read. I think this is a really great curriculum if you're able to make that upfront investment. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel and lets me know what kind of videos you like to see here. Please hit that subscribe button. It is a free way to help my channel out and also be notified of future videos. And leave a comment down below. Let me know if you're doing all about reading, what you're doing with your learners. I would love to know, and I can't wait to catch you guys next time. Bye.